Okay, so I posted a video on Instagram and on LinkedIn last week, which basically set the stage, if you like, for events in Doha, Qatar, where I was last week. This was all as a result of Israel bombing a private residence, basically on the outskirts of Doha, to try and assassinate a group of Hamas negotiators. I'm not going to comment on the politics behind it. I'm Irish. Read between the lines. The video today is a focus on the actual kit, because quite a few people PM'd and DM'd me between Instagram and LinkedIn asking, what do I bring with me when I'm on location training or when I'm out actually going on a shoot? And while a huge part of the training that I do is focused on the idea of using just the phone and knowing how to get the most out of it in a situation that, you might find yourself in, what's in the bag is, well, it's the Mojo kitchen sink. It's basically everything that I think you're potentially going to need on a not entirely sure scenario, so you can basically respond to different situations as they present themselves. I have a second backpack, and in that second backpack, which is usually in the back of my car, I have a battery pack, I have a Starlink, and I have a portable lighting kit. So I don't obviously carry two backpacks with me all the time. This is what I carry. The second backpack is really if I'm going to a location and I have the car with me, so I have space to carry the second backpack as well. I've done a previous video that kind of unpacked that one, if you saw it, it showed the Starlink setup and it showed how portable it is, which is really neat. This video is just looking at the contents of this backpack. Now, I can't remember the particular model number of it, but it is a Samsonite backpack. And I have to say, of all the ones that I've owned, and I've owned quite a few over the years, this is the one that has really stood the test of time. I'm really lucky because there is an outlet called Kildare Village, quite close to where I live. There is a Samsonite store there, and I got this heavily discounted at less than 50% of its normal retail price. That said, I cannot remember what the full retail price of it is, but I know it's certainly in excess of about €200. So it ain't cheap, but it is already 8 months old, and it has stood multiple different overseas journeys at this stage and is still looking pretty much as good and solid as it was the day I got it. Now, I'm also going to tell you, there's a fair bit of weight in this backpack when it's fully loaded, and there's no sign of fraying or anything on the actual shoulder packs. So touch wood, it's lasting, and it's lasting really well. I also just want to point out that there are several different sections in this backpack. So working from the back forward, the back section here, directly behind the straps, is where I would normally keep a laptop and iPad. The mid section, which is in here, is where the core of the Mojo kit sits. I will show you that in a second. There's a front, and then there's another front section, which is an expandable one, and then there's a tiny little zip pocket on the front. So there's basically 1, 2, 3, 4 sections where I store gear in it. And at this stage, obviously, I know where everything is within that because everything has its place. So I'm going to start at the back and just work my way forward, if that makes sense. In the very, very back section of it, two things. The first thing is I carry an iPad Pro. That, with the Apple Pencil, is basically always in the back of the iPad or in the back of the backpack. In addition to that, I have a MacBook Pro. This is a reasonably decent generation one. It's not the big one, but by God, it does the job. Great for the presentations that I do. I can run LumaFusion on it because it's an M chip, and I can also run Final Cut Pro on it. That's all that is normally in the very back section of the actual backpack. Moving into the mid section, which is where, like I say, I basically keep the core of the gear. In here, as I open it up, I basically try and keep everything compartmentalized and really, really tidy, but I'll show you what's in here. There's a little small tidy, which has got a ton of different cables for different scenarios. So USB-C to USB-C, USB-C to Lightning, yada, yada, yada. There is a substantial battery pack. So I have an Anker battery pack. It's 165 watts. This can actually power the MacBook, the iPad, or the phone. And basically I can get at least 5 full charges from dead on the iPhone from this battery pack. So it's a godsend when you're out on location for a long period of time. Believe it or not, this was actually in use during that live stream the other day because I didn't have mains power available to me where we were. So this was slung underneath the actual kit for the full 5 hours, basically keeping the kit alive just in case it depleted too quickly. My microphone solution is in this same section. This is the DJI Mic 2 kit, not the mini, the main one. I'm using the mini to record the video. This is the one that I use in the day-to-day kit. You probably know it anyway. To be honest, I've had access to so many different microphones because of what I do. Like I have a Sennheiser mic, I have a Shure set, I have lots of different mics. The gospel truth for why this one is the one that's in my kit the whole time is DJI were clever enough to make a little small hot shoe adapter that connects into the receiver unit, which means I can either use it on iOS or Android because it has both connections in the box, but I can also just plug it directly into the Sony FX30 that I have, and means I have a wireless receiver then basically on my DSLR as well. So it just ticks boxes on both sides. By the way, I don't normally carry the FX30 kit with me at all. That's in a hard case with a set of prime lenses, and that's really just for high-end production stuff that I'm involved in. In the same bag, same compartment in here, external storage. This is the Lexxar module. We basically got this at Mojo Fest. The guys from Transcontinental were there selling it. This is 2 terabytes on USB-C that can plug directly into the actual iPhone, effectively tripling the amount of storage that I have on the device. The beauty of this also is, should a situation arise where I have to hand off media to someone in a hardware form, I'm not giving my phone away, I can just basically offload the media onto this. Now these aren't cheap either, but it is really robust. I'm super impressed with it. And like I say, it basically is a permanent part of the kit as well. Also in the midsection of this is the tripod that I use. Now I will say, I've been using Tilta gear for the last year and a half, and I absolutely love the kit that they have. I have 2 of the Tilta VTO5 tripods. They're carbon fiber, they're beautiful, they're just a little bit bigger than this. This basically is, I've wanted this for quite a long time. I was lusting after it for a long time. So this is the Peak Design carbon fiber travel tripod. And while it is ridiculously expensive, I think this was 800 euros. I was really lucky to get this in a sale where it was discounted. I think it was like, I got it for about 600, so like 200 euros off. What I love about it, to put simply, is that it's so bloody small that I can basically put it down into the actual neat little bag that it comes on, and it sits comfortably inside the backpack. It's not slung on the outside, it's not hanging off by a kind of a carbine or whatever. I really like that. I know that there's a video head option you can get for it, but actually I just have the standard photo head, because again, one of the things I often teach people when they're filming mobile the first time is use the tripod for your interviews, so it's locked off and you can focus on the guest. But if you're shooting handheld, the stabilization on the latest generation of phones is so good that, to be honest, you don't really need a tripod for a lot of the stuff that you might be doing. And then the beating heart, the core, if you like, of everything that is in the kit is all centered on this. This case basically is where I keep all the accessories for the Tilta Khronos rig. You would have seen that specific rig in the actual photo that I shared. This is the exact device that would have actually put the team from CNN on air. The heart of it is the 16 Pro Max. Will I upgrade to the 17 Pro Max? That's a video for another day. I'm not entirely convinced just yet. This rig builds out. You can do it really, really simply. You can get these really basic kind of handles that just clip onto the sides that will give you a horizontal shooting rig like this. So I can film like this. That same rig, beautifully, can go vertical. So I can basically make it so it's ready to do social media footage as well, and basically shoot vertical as well. So really, really dynamic. When you saw, or if you saw the video, you might have realized that this was actually on my rig, but what was on the other side, which is more important, was a 2-part setup. So what was on it was this, which basically is a really clever adapter. Not radically dissimilar, I would say, basically than what has come out recently from Blackmagic, but Tilta were there first to give them credit. So what basically is a USB-C hub that plugs directly into the phone. On the side of it, there is a PD100 battery grip, so a fast charging battery. So it does actually supply power into the actual rig. And then there's loads of other accessories. So a cooling fan that basically can snap onto the back using the MagSafe adapter and takes power from the PD100 grip. And then there's loads of other accessories that I have in the case. One thing that was in action the other night, I don't know if you can see it, but there are these little small 4 dots are power points. And basically the power coming from this grip will actually power up this little light when it's active. So this was actually the key light on the team as they were presenting. I did find a cheapy ring light that I stuck at the side as well, just to light the scene a little bit. that's it in a nutshell. I haven't fully assembled it, but that's it in a nutshell. That's what was sitting on top of the tripod. The other parts that are basically in this kit, I do have a lav. It's actually a Rode lav from the old Rode kit that I have. I have another external drive from Lexxar, which I occasionally use. There's various different grips and mounts for the sides, so you can use different handles. There's an external hard drive mount, so you can put an external hard drive on it. There's a cold shoe mount, so you can put a little small mini shotgun mic on it if you want. And then, though it's completely unnecessary and overkill, I do actually have a focus puller, which basically is compatible with the Blackmagic camera app, but would not have been used in the scenario that I had the other day. So that is the core kit. Let me just put all this away. That basically is everything that I would carry around with me in the main case. Just put that back in there as well. Now, I'll just give you a quick whip through what's in the front of the case. There's other cables and accessory bits actually for that also in there. There's a nice little feature in the inside of the backpack as well, which is it actually has the ability to plug in a battery pack inside the compartment here, and it presents as a USB connector on the outside of the case. You don't actually have to keep taking your battery pack out if you don't want to. That's everything that's on the inside of that compartment. Let me just stuff it all back in so I can zip it all up, put it away. In the next section, moving forward towards the front, I will zip this up. So that's 1, 2 we've looked at so far. Now I'm going to go for section 3, which is this one. In here, power supply, nothing really surprising there. Pair of Bose wireless headphones. I do strongly encourage over-the-ear headphones. HDMI cable, USB-C cable, so more cables, and then a couple of the actual adapters to allow you to do HDMI out. I have a few other bits like there's spare cables and things in here. A little bit messier than the rest of the bag overall, but you get the gist of what's in there. Normally what also is in here, it's at the front, is a little small Logitech clicker that I use for when I'm doing presentations. And then lastly, just to move to the very, very front, there is a small section, I'll flip it around to you, that again has cables and adapters, kind of more of these, those kind of Logitech remotes that I mentioned. And one other thing, it's in here somewhere, yeah, is an external MiFi. So this has a SIM card in it. It's basically a portable wireless router. The benefit of this is that you're on location, particularly like the live streaming setup in that video on LinkedIn, is this potentially is going to have a separate connection, which will present as Wi-Fi, and I can bond that to my phone. To put it in simple language, this has a data connection because there's a SIM card in it. My phone has a data connection because there's a SIM card in it. And if the app permits it, you can bond the connectivity in both of those signals into one stream, which gives you much, much more resilience basically on your live stream. Now, as it happens, I did do that the other night. CNN use a live streaming solution called LiveView. There are multiple other companies out there that do similar solutions. DJI would be one that would have been very popular, for instance, in RT and Sky News and others that I worked at in the past. I didn't work for Sky News, but I have done work with BBC. And then Mobile Viewpoint, there's quite a few. You can Google them and you can actually get your hands on all of them, but it's only a few of them. DJI, I think, were the first, allow you to bond multiple signals to basically give you resilience and to give you, you know, the flexibility to get the best possible bandwidth. That is useful if you're in a situation where you're using something like Starlink for a satellite-based connection, as well as a 4G or 5G mobile network, because again, you can use the connectivity from both of those different connections to give you a really good, strong signal. And just for the record, in case you're wondering, live streaming, in my experience, if you can get 10 megabits per second upload, that's more than sufficient for a solid stream. Again, the diversification of more than one connection means that should it happen that an awful lot of connections go live on the mobile network and your bandwidth gets squeezed, at least you have the backup of the resilience of the other connectivity to basically offload that as well. That's basically everything that's in the kit. So it has every scenario, like say, except the lighting kit. There is a lighting kit in a separate laptop with the Starlink, with an external battery pack from EcoFlow. That's the larger River 3. And that just means that I can respond with just those two small backpacks. I can respond to pretty much any situation that I might find myself in. As happened in Doha, I basically had to set up the tripod, build that kit that I just showed you, which is the Tilta Khronos rig with the 15 or 16 Pro Max. Once I had installed the license for LiveView, and I bought basically an eSIM, a data SIM from Holofly to get extra connectivity over the mobile network in Doha, we were live. For those of you who are familiar with this tech, Paul, I think it was wearing the DJI Mic, Becky also later in the day. They were using a separate IFB phone. Some of the actual live streaming solutions will allow you to actually take a return feed from the studio so you can hear the presenter and the director in your ear. As it happens, that wasn't something that they had set up, or for whatever reason, they just chose to do it separately. So basically each one of them, if you might look back at it, you might see they actually had AirPods in their ear connected to their own phone. Their own phone had just made a standard call to an IFB number, basically at CNN headquarters back in Atlanta, and they were able to hear the actual questions and hear the directors and everything in their ear as a result of that. So they were kind of separate, not all integrated into the actual live streaming app, but still worth a treat. And like I say, this kit, I basically left about halfway through the session, but I did leave the core of the kit, the tripod and the phone and the battery pack and stuff with the team so that they'd have the option of spinning it up and going live whenever they wanted. So that's the gear. I'm not on commission from any of these companies. Every single piece of kit that I just mentioned is kit that I bought myself. But I have had the privilege of testing lots of different solutions. These are the ones that I have chosen for lots of different reasons, but these are the ones that I've chosen, and they are now part of my core day-to-day kit. Happy to answer any questions that you might have in the comments below. Let me know if you found any value in this. Yeah, thanks for watching.